This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Where is that time? It's the Halftime Show with Omar Adori. I am your host, covering everything sport, international and local. Hope you're having a blessed day wherever you're tuned in around the world, whether it's 95 FM, pulse95radio.com, our app, Sharjah Broadcasting Authority, or even if you're watching us live on YouTube, Pulse 95 Radio. Thank you very much for tuning in. What a special show I have in store for you today, because I've got someone who I'm bringing back on the show. She was so good the first time. It's Yas Moves. Yas Moves is on the show today, and it's got a holistic feel to it as we welcome her on the show. Now, she specializes in holistic health and movement, so that's why I wanted to pick her brain and get as much juice and sauce for you on the Halftime Show. Her approach on training, both from a physiological and psychological standpoint, is very, very impressive and a true testament to the health and fitness industry in the Middle East. So she's going to be on the show today. Now, normally I like to share certain things with you guys, and because it's quite an intimate show, it's not every day I come across what I'm about to do now. Actually, it's the first time I'm ever going to do it. So I like my coffee, and I normally go to this coffee shop and sit down, work, chill, produce the podcast for the show. And I tend to ask questions to understand who's there and what are they doing. And one of the people that serves the coffee, one of the best coffees in town, by the way, his name is Jay. And he actually, what he did was, I said to him, one day he was talking and he had some sort of flow to him. So I said, Jay, what's up, man? And he was like, yeah, well, I'm an artist and I'm a producer and I'm a singer. And I thought, really? Can I hear your stuff? And he said, yes. So this is the first time ever on the Halftime Show you're going to be hearing the exclusive world track that this person, Jay, has in store. And the track is called Emirati Deal. Check it out and let me know what you think. We'll be right back after this.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Yes, we are back. Now, if you're just tuning in and wondering what was that madness that was happening in the studio, I'll tell you what was happening. I was very, very happy to be able to do something which it's just nice to just do things sometimes just for the sake of them, for the heart of it. And it was really nice because the person I just played now on the radio, One Letter J, his song was called Emirati Deal, has another job, does his thing, very good at it as well, and he's also a singer and artist, and we appreciate people who are talented, and he's one of those people that are talented. So I wanted to play his track for the first time ever on radio in the world. We played it here on the Halftime Show, and I'm so happy. That's why I'm smiling. I'm smiling ear to ear because of that. And yes, also because Arsenal won. Yes, you're right, Murad, as well. Yas Moves is in the building. Yas, welcome to the show.
Hey, Omar.
How are you doing?
Good.
Welcome back.
It's good to be back.
Yeah? You doing well?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? You can't hear me?
Not in my ears.
Okay. Well,
now I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Good.
All right. So, Yas, you came on last time. We had a really, really good show. The information, the education that you have, what you stand for was so impressive. The hour flew by. So let's get straight into it, okay? Mm-hmm. One of the most common dominoes in reset that people struggle with is perfecting sleep. How does one improve sleep?
Yeah, sleep is a big topic, and we need our sleep.
Yeah.
It's the most natural thing that humans do. Improving sleep it depends on the person, the lifestyle, but we always want to look for optimum sleep. How can we do that? Practical tips. First thing, cut out caffeine 6 to 8 hours before bed.
6 to 8 hours before bed. No coffee.
I would not do coffee.
Okay. Some teas. No teas.
Some tea.
Okay.
A little bit of tea. Also depending on everyone's tolerance. We all tolerate metabolized caffeine differently, right? So I would maybe focus on that. I'm not going to give 10 things and you have to do 10 at the same time. It all depends on the person.
Yeah.
All right. We like an individual approach. So it's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
The other thing that is interesting is to be exposed to the sunlight within 15 minutes of waking. So
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's something that I learned. It is a scientific study. So they found that people who are exposed to the light first thing in the morning, it affects your mood. It just brings you better mood. And light, what it does, which is, I'm going to get to it in a second.
Yeah.
So light suppresses melatonin. So it gives you that like kind of like boost of waking up.
And what does melatonin do?
So melatonin is a sleep hormone.
Yes.
So that's like so that's the can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the sleep hormone that induces sleep basically. So we want to get melatonin in the evening, so we don't want to be exposed to light like this, all this blue light at night. It's not what we're looking for.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So as soon as you wake up, we get some light, some sunlight.
Sunlight first within waking. And I did not make this up. I still can't hear you in my ears if that's
okay. I'm gonna try and shout so you can hear me. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So that's great. And then on top of that, now that improves. Those two things I really like because they're very much achievable. They're not something that you can't do. What about if you don't live and not blessed like us to be in a country that's hot and has great weather? Yeah.
Creating a bedtime routine. You want to create cues in your environment to go to sleep. Nice. And that can be done like very, very practically. Okay. So I'm saying like you can do things like just dimming the lights at home around 7 p.m.
Okay.
Right. So you're giving your body the cues that, hey, it's time to go to bed. Yeah. It's time to wind down. All right. Dimming the lights and no blue lights at all. They
so
have
no TV,
all these,
no computer, no.
Yeah. And if you must, and if we must watch Netflix, then we can. They have all this like this great invention, which is a blue light blocking glasses. It's pretty cheap, $20 on Amazon. It's nothing expensive. It's just a little piece of technology that prevents that like the harmful lights or the lights that give you that awakened state.
Really?
So you can wear those in the evening, and those are great, very practical, because this is modern life. We have to work at night, and I said, watch Netflix. So
and what are the small things we can do to help manage sleeping patterns? Now, sleeping patterns obviously are things that we can control, right?
Yes.
So how can we manage that better?
Yeah. So I would say getting early movement. So movement is, we talked last time about movement.
Yes.
It is key. So getting your sweat early on in the day, that would be, so that is kind of like kids. You want to tire them out during the day. So that by 7 p.m. they're ready to go to bed. And this is a strategy parents have been using for thousands of years. Yes. It's nothing new, yet we don't apply it to ourselves, right? Like if we are kind of lethargic throughout the day and we're not moving much, we're still going to be awake. Right? Yeah. We need to tire that body. That body needs to run. We forget that we're very much like animals. Like puppies need to run, dogs need to run. Yet we don't do the same to ourselves. So I would say getting exercise early on, getting some cardio, getting some strength, getting whatever makes you groove. So it doesn't have to be unless you are on a program or whatever. Doing something you like early on in the day. And making sure, of course, that you do that every single day, just not for sleep, but for longevity, mental health.
Yes.
Make sure you get something that you love doing daily, and hopefully it involves movements, because most of our life now is just around sitting down, going to cafes, going to restaurants. But pairing that with movement or having buddies around movement is really good. Any kind of movement.
Great.
Right? So
I love it. I mean, this is just the first segment and we're just getting warm. Tariq is asking the question, seeing that we're talking about sleeping patterns and managing that and blue light. What if you've contracted the virus COVID, okay, and you can't get out?
Yeah.
What would you advise? How do people manage that in terms of sleep, and then also in terms of like how we said earlier, that direct sunlight?
Yeah.
To be able to get them mentally in a better place.
Yeah. So they also have these lamps. They're called like happy lights. So I lived in the northwest of America, which is a very dim part of the U.S. It rains a lot. And literally everyone would wake up and sit next to that specific light frequency that mimics the sun.
Right.
So you get these lamps. They're not expensive. I don't know if you need to, because if you live in an apartment, hopefully your apartment has some windows.
Yeah.
So you can get natural sunlight in, even though if you're not staring in the sun or you're not on the beach.
Yeah.
Even that little bit of exposure to just natural light is enough. Or you get one of these happy lamps, which is just a very specific frequency that mimics the sunlight. Right. So that's another thing. The other thing is sometimes it's about what you add, but also it's about what you remove. So just by doing the act of removing the blue lights during the evening time is enough. Adding a little bit of as I said, like an environmental cue to sleep. Right. So for instance, like my cue, one of my many cues to sleep, go to bed, is to make a chamomile tea. And I've been doing that for years, and I still love drinking black tea at night, but I was like, okay, the chamomile tea is my body now knows it. Yes. That means I'm getting in bed. It's it's on my bedside, whatever, like the little thing.
Because you built the habit to do that.
Yes. So, and something, if I'm really, really fussy, it's like an Epsom salt bath. You know, that's Epsom salt is available in all pharmacies across the UAE. It's cheap technology.
Brilliant.
So you just, soak. People don't do it anymore. But again, traditionally, people have done it. We do it to babies.
Yes, yes.
I know I talk a lot about kids because I have kids.
Yes.
But yeah, these are like tried and true things that don't cost a lot of money and they're not far-fetched and you don't need expensive equipment. We're always like, what should I buy to improve this? But it's very simple things.
I like it.
Chamomile tea and Epsom salts.
And blue light glasses.
Yeah.
And happy lamps.
Yes.
Okay, right, guys. We're going to be right back after the break. We've got much more great stuff with Yas Move. Stay tuned for more on Pulse 95.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Adori on Pulse 95.
Yes, we are back on the Halftime Show with Omar Duri. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international, local. A lot has gone on this show already. As we've got kicking off the Halftime Show, we played an exclusive first time ever on radio in the whole world, a track by a friend of mine called One Letter J, a Marathi deal. Great track. And I was so happy to be able to do that. I hope he caught that, actually. I hope Winu, if you're watching, man, I hope you got that for your friend. Because I was on the messages with Winu trying to get him to capture Jay's reaction because he had no idea. But we got a lot of good things because we were speaking about managing sleep and sleeping patterns, and Yas Moves dropped a lot of gold dust on that segment. So if you have missed the show, you can catch us on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, and on Ram if you like the podcast, or even head over to the YouTube. You can see her now there on the YouTube Pulse 95 Radio. The shows are always uploaded by our fantastic team, Super Mario and Gabby, and they make it happen. So yeah, right. Okay, Yas.
Yes.
I've heard when I went on a course once that the feet are the USB to the body.
I love that. I'm going to have to ask you later what course was that.
Yes, barefoot course. But yeah,
I love it.
What can we do to help protect our feet, seeing that they're so important in how we live?
Okay, so I'll start off by a quote Leonardo da Vinci referred to the foot as the most complex piece of machinery ever designed. Mm-hmm. So our feet support us throughout the day. Yes. Without them, we can't do much. We can't go places. So I would ask you by define protect. Protect versus strengthen versus make it resilient. Like I like to think about feet or in general about body in terms of resiliency.
Right.
I see my body as a vessel that just gets me places. Right. So taking care of it in terms of performance, in terms of health, in terms of wellness, but not to the point of like worshiping my body, not to get to that conversation. But yeah, so protection is different than strengthening, different than creating resiliency. Resiliency and strength would be on the same kind of line. Yeah. But originally, like shoes came from just protecting the skin, really. It had nothing to do with the structure of the foot. The structure of the foot is solid. Yes. It's good. Mm-hmm. All right. And your feet are just like the muscles in your feet are just like any other muscles. They need to be moved, strengthened, loaded, which we do all day anyway. Yeah. The only downside to the feet is that we're wearing these foot gloves, right?
What's your take on barefoot training? Seeing that you've mentioned that.
I personally like it because I have a personal story. The reason why I got into studying the feet is because I had pain in my feet and I was told by 2 podiatrists in the US that I need to operate on my feet. Okay. So, and I just said, no, I don't want to do that because I read about the recovery and the success rates and all the data and stuff. And that didn't, vibe. It wasn't good. Yeah. So I decided to look into it and I had a trainer, a coach, shout out to Morgan. And he used to just take off his shoes, This is in 2011. And he's like, the first time I went and saw him, I was jumping rope and he said, take off your shoes. And it felt much better. I had better grip. I had better everything, I wasn't injured. There wasn't this fear, right? We're always so scared because it's so conventional to wear shoes. So now anyone who's like running barefoot is like going against the grain, even though it's pretty natural if you train it. If you don't shock the body.
See,
so
that's the key thing, though. You just said now. You said if we train it.
Yes.
But for your average Joe that sees these cool gloves, these barefoot gloves, and say, I'm going to train in them, and then they get injured, they think that that's because of the actual foot glove, not because of them. Yeah. So that's something that's very important to emphasize on, that when it comes down to barefoot training, that it requires time to get used to and then be able to progress with it.
Yes, just like anything else. Like you don't want to diet everything all of a sudden. The body doesn't work that way. You would think it would just listen when we tell it to do something. it doesn't work that way. It needs time to adapt. Adaptation.
Right.
Very human thing.
Yeah.
Because again, we talked about the nervous system before.
Yes.
You don't want to pose a threat to the nervous system. It freaks out and it gives you, and it's like, okay, what are you doing right now? Why are you doing this? We haven't done this before. Why are you slamming on your feet, without shoes, without protection, without the cushion, without the heel, without the 2-inch, without the, comfortable shoes and your socks? Why are you moving your toes that way? We've never moved our toes this way. So you want to train it, and barefoot training is something that I personally enjoy. It gives me more stability. It makes me feel my feet more, and it's not for everyone, and you need to build up to it. And educate yourself on it. I mean, we're so good at researching sneakers and cars. We know the basic mechanism of most things, but we don't know anything about our feet, which I find a bit peculiar.
Does
sometimes.
footwear matter? Or is it more in your mind?
It does. I feel like if you have strong enough feet, then you can wear whatever you want, right? The one thing I would say not to do is to have your toes squished in a foot, in a shoe. So that's what creates problems. Just your joints. You're like basically walking around. I don't know if people can see me, probably on YouTube.
Yeah.
But I'm putting my hands in mittens. It's basically having my hands in mittens all day.
Right.
Sort of,
Right. Yeah.
They're pretty similar, the toes and the hands. We don't need to write with our toes, all right? You don't need to perfect your penmanship with your toes.
I'd be so bad at that.
That's not what I'm advocating.
I would be so bad at that.
But just have enough basic that I understand my little toe, and that every toe is connected to a muscle, and that muscles and nerves communicate, So what do we want at the end of the day? We really want blood flow.
Right.
Right? We want like oxygen-rich nourishment in areas of the body. And some areas of the body, they don't even get to meet blood flow.
Right.
So,
really good.
So just like moving joints. It's very simple. Again, we are not here to complicate wellness and health.
Yeah.
Simplify. Just move your toes around, and we naturally actually do that. Kids do it, we do it, we just don't think about it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't require half an hour of you, let me train my toes.
Yeah.
No, please don't do that.
Yeah.
Just walk barefoot and walk on different surfaces and textures. The body loves texture. The body loves sensory. So walk on the beach, walk on the rocks, risk it, get a little cut. You're going to be okay. That's okay. So exposing ourselves to different environments is really, really helpful.
And there you have it. I told you we were going to drop the fire on this show. We spoke about sleeping patterns, how to manage it, how to improve your sleep. And then now we've gone on deep on feet. And I didn't mean to rhyme that either. And coming up next, we're talking about how walking is just as effective physiological as it is psychological. So stay tuned for more on the only place to be at 3, the Halftime Show on Pulse 95.
This is the Halftime Show with Umar and Duri on Pulse 95.
Sure is that time. It's the Halftime Show with Omar Duri. I'm your host, covering everything sport, international, local. What a wicked show we've had so far. And thank you for everyone who's tuned in on pulse95radio.com, 95 FM, or YouTube live on Pulse 95 Radio. What a show. Okay, so if you're just tuning in, we spoke about sleeping patterns, small things that can really make a big difference when it comes down to managing your sleeping. And that's something that a lot of people have struggled in 2020. And coming into 2021, a lot of people are looking for ways to improve their health and their well-being. So that was the first segment. The second segment is a lot of us have heard about how important the feet are to the body, to the mind, to the nervous system. And we spoke about that as well. And that was really, really cool. One of the things now that I wanted to talk to Yaz about is sometimes we hear people going for walks quite a lot. But those that don't know probably are wondering why it happens and why it's beneficial. Is walking just as beneficial psychologically as it is physiologically?
I would say for sure. And I don't need a scientific research to tell me how good walking is for the human body.
Yeah.
Sometimes just things make sense. Walking for me can be, or for anyone, it can be like a way to distract yourself, leaving your current environment.
Yeah.
So change is good. Letting your mind wander, which is a really nice thing that we don't often do. And when you kind of stare into space and let your mind wander, people are like, are you okay? Yes, I'm okay. I'm letting my mind wander, and walking does that. You have something that continuous flow of visual input when you're walking.
Okay.
It's so important. It's called optic flow. And which is same thing. You're letting your eyes see things. You walk past them. You're moving forward, which is an idea that I'm fascinated by. So your body is actually moving forward, and your brain knows we're moving forward. So it's not walking on a treadmill where it's stationary, right? In terms of mechanical, like what's happening in the body, like that stride is so important. That continuous like flexion and extension is so important for the body. We need that to strengthen our structure. Humans, we are designed to walk. It's not such a maverick idea, like I walk 2 hours a day or I walk 1 hour a day. That is the norm. It's now about, well, how do we fit that? Psychologically, I mean, they do have research papers that ties walking and creativity, right? So if you feel like you want to get creative, or you're writing something, or you're creating something in your head, just take a break and like take a walk. With phone, without phone, it's really up to you. It doesn't matter, because your body mechanically is doing the same thing. You can't help but stare into space, letting the eyes stretch, smiling at someone, receiving a smile. Like all of these are such good positive things that we need daily in our life. We forget how much we can create connection also in walking. So walking is not just the sweat, it's not the cardio, although it's amazing for all of that. Your heart rate, fat burning, all of this, yes. Do it for all these things. But also, if you walk in nature, you are becoming one with nature, which is amazing. You get the awe effect. Oh my God, look at like that awe effect is something that, again, as city dwellers, we don't get it enough. And I think it's such a normal, natural human feeling that we need to feel, right? So that's like the awe effect is something I love when it comes to walking in nature. But now you can also find awe in a human smile. So this is how I think about walking, I wonder, like what babies I'll see on the walk today. So for me, that's cute. So connection.
Well, I mean, that's the thing we spoke about. We spoke about like people do something through exercise to feel better physically, but I think the walking aspect not only covers the physiological part, but also the psychological part of clearing the air, of being able to clear the mind, of being able to do something that is very fluent. And you said flow, and I love that word, because sometimes we're always stopping and starting and being distracted, and we don't have that natural flow. One of the things that you also said was, even if you bring your phone out. Nowadays, music is a huge part of a lot of people's lifestyles, a lot of people's lives. It makes them happy, just like how you mentioned. But what kind of music do you listen to when you're walking?
Everything. I listen to everything. I don't have a genre. I go by mood, by feeling. And let's say like if I'm seeking a certain feeling, like let's say like I am seeking hope, I listen to songs. I literally Google songs that instill hope. So something that for me, that I find that inspiring. You know what I'm saying? Like if I want to find like a big meaning, I like having that in my ears. And I feel that fuels my walk. Right? It's like I'm coding something in my system right in the morning, especially when I do morning walks. Depending on my mood, exactly like I told you, if I want more energy, then I'm going to listen to high energy, songs. If I'm
like what?
Dua Lipa these days. Dua Lipa.
Okay.
A little bit of Afro beats. Like I love that. Like that kind of energy these days. So it changes.
Right. Depends on the mood.
It depends on the mood. I listen to some Arabic music sometimes, of course. Sometimes it's a book. Sometimes if I'm like if I feel open to learning and I have that headspace, then it's an audiobook for sure. Audible. It's a podcast. It's an interview. If I'm inspired by a certain, person, then I will just hear all their interviews. So it really depends, but it's very mood dependent, and it's also seeking something.
And I also think it doesn't have an age to it, because I'll tell you a little story. So yesterday, came back home from training, and my uncle and my mom had the music blasting loud, and just were like, I couldn't even tell from the noise what kind of music it was, but it was Arabic music, but it was really loud, and they were so happy, and it was nice to see them happy, and still enjoying sound and allowing it to affect our emotions, which is something sometimes we're not open to. That was really nice. Which is, when you said that, it kind of struck a chord, because yes, it was quite late, but they were pounding that music so loud, and
it's related.
It's got nothing to do with age. Age is just a number. So that struck a chord for me. There's been a lot of questions coming in for you, Yaz, and we're gonna answer that after the break. But speaking about music, Here's one of Maria's favorite songs, Trip by LMA. It's the Jamie Boy cover. Enjoy this, folks. You will love it. Here we go.
This is the Halftime Show with Omar Al-Duri on Pulse 95.
If you are tuning in on the 95 FM, on pulse95radio.com, and you're wondering, why am I laughing? It's because Yaz said something really cool right now. She said, you have the best listeners, the best people that tune in, and because of all the comments they've thrown in during the show, and she said, do you pay them? And I was like, yes. I might as well, because they've been fantastic, and the show is based on them, and they've actually asked some very, very good questions. And then after I asked these questions, then Yaz said she would sing for us, so that just thought I'd throw that in there, but she didn't hear me. Okay, so Yaz.
Yes.
See, I told you she didn't hear me. Yaz, question from Lara. Sleeping pills, yay or nay?
I would say check with your doctor. I would say nay. I wouldn't take them mindlessly, and I would always go to the root cause. Why am I taking sleeping pills in the first place? There's always an underlying cause. So we can address stress. We can address nutrition. Maybe we're eating something that is causing certain alertness that our bodies can't deal with. Meditation really, really helps, and meditative activities. I'm not saying sitting in a chair and meditating, because that can also have an adverse reaction to people. Not everyone loves that. It can create anxiety. So just something, I'm just putting ideas out there, by the way.
Yes, absolutely.
For people to just go and experiment. So meditative, that's why I say meditative activities. So that can be something like walking. That can be quite meditative to people. Cycling, spinning, whatever it is whatever floats their boat.
Excellent. Arij mentioned something, one of our favorite UAE national team footballers. She said Cristiano Ronaldo does power interval naps. What do you think of those?
These have been studied. I have power naps are people actually it's supposed to give your brain that nice boost. And as I said, meditation in the traditional sense of sitting down, quieting the mind, can have that same power, giving you that energetic boost. And they have, of course, guided things for that, kind of meditation to energize. I just encourage people to stay curious, to look it up,
very good,
to get some books, and to take charge of their own health and wellness for sure.
Very good. Hatem, what is your advice to returning athletes? No, that's for me. Okay.
I was like, wait.
Sorry about that. Murad said something. He said, is it the older you get, the less sleep you get?
Some people do experience that, and it could be fluctuating hormones. It could be a number of things. I would, again, check underlying cause. Why is that happening? And creating, along with the other things that we said, I feel like creating a good routine that works for you, not a routine that someone else told you to try. I mean, try things, keep an open mind, but experimenting. I love experimenting.
Our very own Hani Balqis as well. He's shot me a message saying melatonin with a couple of question marks. Yeah, Hani. Were you tuned in earlier? Did you like the show? Yeah, thumbs up. Okay, great. Thanks, Hani.
Thank you.
I love that guy, man. Honestly. All right, so and then there's some more stuff. What you revealed to us earlier is you sing.
I dabble.
It's becoming a trend on the show. Ali Salama. He took the risk, and he had all this courage, and he sung.
Thank you, Omar. I'm going to tell you the word in Arabic after that. What you're doing right now.
and then all these great, wonderful listeners and followers that've been on here have been giving me the thumbs up, and even Hassan or Spicy mentioned Yaz moves turns into Yaz sings.
Wow.
So everyone is really, really keen.
My heart is beating super fast right now.
To hear
everyone doesn't even understand.
But you also mentioned fight or flight.
Did I? Not on this show.
I'm putting her on the spot here. I'm only joking. But hey, listen, guys, what I might do is get her to record 30 seconds for you guys, and I'll put it on my Instagram if she's comfortable doing that. Yes. So at least know that, we'll get her when she's ready.
If you want to give me song suggestions, then we can talk about something.
Okay, right.
What about you sing with me, Omar?
Why would I do that to my listeners? I value them too much to do that. And Al Zaruni says, we believe in you. And Ish says, we will support you and applaud regardless. See, so we will get that. We will get that on for you guys. I'm going to get 30 seconds. And even Shaymat says you can do it. See, everyone loves having you on. Okay, so Yaz.
Okay, I'm going to do it.
Are you going to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you guys ready?
All right, yeah, right. So Yaz is going to sing for you guys.
I'm going to sing something very small.
Okay, 30 seconds?
Maybe even less.
Let's go.
Okay, no music.
No music.
And this is super raw.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. I know you got the best intentions. Just trying to find the right words to say. I promised I've already learned my lesson. But right now, I wanna be not okay. I'm so tired sitting here waiting. If I hear one more, just be patient. It's always gonna stay the same. So let me just give up. Let me just let go. If this isn't good for me, well, I don't wanna know. Let me just stop trying. Let me just stop fighting. I don't want your good advice or reasons why I'm alright. You don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like. It's such a sad song, but that's...
And who would have guessed that these talented guests that come on the show can actually sing? Brilliant.
I dabble. I'm going to insist.
Ali Salama did it. You did it. Everyone here is loving it. Aya Zaruni says, I got chills all over. Shaymat said, keep going. Masoud gives the peace sign up. Lara says, it's beautiful. Masoud says, yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much, Yaz, for doing that. That was amazing. And again, guys, if you do want to catch the halftime show or even catch up on the show, especially this one was awesome. Head over to our YouTube channel. Super Mario and Gabby put up our shows and upload them on YouTube. Yaz, before we leave, I know I've asked you this before, but for everyone that heard your amazing voice today, where can they follow you?
Yaz Moves, Instagram. Still working on that website.
That's coming soon.
It's a lot of work coming soon.
That's coming soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That was awesome. A little bit of a round of applause for Yaz. Guys, we will be back on Wednesday. Stay tuned. We've got the afternoon cutter coming up with Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah. Have a great day. Peace.
If you liked this episode of The Halftime Show, drop a like and subscribe.
95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.